If you want to learn how to knit this hat, keep on watching. Hello everyone, my name is Barbara and I'm a Polish girl who lives in Ireland and likes to knit, and today I'm going to show you my finished object, but also a tutorial. This video is a tutorial for free for you to show you how I knit on circular needles using only a one stitch. Knit stitch. If you're interested, keep on watching. If you're a kind of advanced knitter, you can check the link down below because there is a link to a free pattern on Ravelry, and I probably also included on my website. Check it out, knittingILove.com. Anyway, links down below, just so you know. Yay! One more thing. I'll be talking about tools, needles, yarn, markers, and then tutorial itself. You will have a timestamps down below, so don't afraid to use them. Okay, let's start. First things first, I'll be telling you what kind of tools I used, and all the links to the tools you can find down below. So if you're interested, if you don't have any of these, you can purchase them in my shop, and I'm happy to help you with that too. If you're here for the first time, hello, and if you've visited before, hello again. Just to let you know a few things that knitters like to have. First thing first is a bag. We like to put our stuff into a project bag, we call it that way. This one I sold myself. I don't sell bags at the moment in my shop, and normally I would put everything into bag, but I will going to knit a lovely hat for you right now, so I don't need it. Next thing you need, let's go with the essentials. So first thing first, you will need needles, and there's a different types of needles, and what I would recommend for a beginner, if I could start one more time, I would go with interchangeable needles. Why? Because you can do loads of things with them, and the one that I have in my shop is HiyaHiya's Sharp, because they have very sharp tip, which is quite good for a beginner and also for advanced and also for any lace work in the future if you're going to make some. So you will find two types of tips, which will be 4 inches or 5 inches. And over here I'm talking about the length of them, not the size. And why do we need them in a different length? In a fixed and interchangeable sets, you will need to look for 16 inches, which is 40 centimeters cord. They have 3 different ends for different sizes. 2 of them, they're blue and 1 is pink. And the pink one is a sock. Then we have small and then we have large. As you can notice, the small one is for socks knitting. Not for you at the moment if you're a beginner. And then we have another 2. You can start with any size actually you want, but for this pattern, we'll go with the large because this goes from 5.5 millimeters to 10 millimeters needles. So we're talking about screws over here. So like with the tips, we have length and the size, and the same thing with cord. We have the length and the size of the ends. So for this purpose, we will need 7 millimeters, which is US size 10.75, 4 inches, so the tiny ones, with a large cable, 16 inches, 40 centimeters. But also we will change the size of the needles to US size 13, which is 9 millimeters, also 4 inches. So short ones. And why can't I use the long ones? On my cable I have 5 inches, and as you can see, I would not be able to knit with it. To knit with needles, you need to have them horizontally, and I can't do that. And if accidentally I get the small size of the cable, I would not be able to fit it for these needles. So let's sum up. For this project, you will need a 16 inches, which is 40 centimeter cord with a large ends. We will start on 7 millimeters, which is US size 10.75, 4 inches, very important, so the short ones, and the same short, so 4 inches, size US size 13, which is 9 millimeters. We need to take the cord and US size 10.75, which is 7 millimeters needles, and put them on by just screwing. Also, cool thing, you have written down on them the size. So now, once we have them screwed in, you may notice something different about HiyaHiya's cables than any other cables. What it is, the whole thing, you see, this is needle, this is the end of the cable, and this is the cable. The whole thing moves. which means if you have short or slightly longer cable, it will not be twisted, which is awesome. It's like a bearing in your bike. Also, when I prepare for a project, I use my knittingILove pouch. This one is a berry color flower power collection, like this. Okay, next thing what you will need, progress keeper. I'm using this one. And some markers. Actually, 4 and 1 starting my round. Okay, one more thing that you will need, and you're probably shouting at me now, it's a yarn. And I was looking for yarn that it's not too expensive, and I may have it in my shop, so check it out down below. I will definitely want to dye some yarn on this base, which is, it is 65% wool, 35% alpaca, so all natural things. As you can see, it's the 2-ply. And the main important thing is what's written over here, which is yardage. So in 100 gram, we have over here 90 meters or 98 yards. So if you're not using this yarn, you will try to find something that has those informations. You'll get the same thickness of your yarn. I know it's going to be our first adventure. Get yourself tea or coffee and let's start. So let's start. What we need, needles, yarn. Okay, let's start. We have our needles. We're going to cast on 45 stitches according to our pattern. If you like, you can cast on less or more, but the number should be divisible by 5. First, what we're going to do, we're going to make a loop. Because we're going to use backwards. We're going to use backwards loop cast on. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put a marker for a reason in the future. So we have our loop, which will be, let's say, our first stitch, and we have our progress keeper over here, which will be marking our first stitch. We're going to hold the yarn from the ball like this, and basically we're just pulling this through. We have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and what we're looking for, that the stitches are loose, that we can move them on our needle like this. Let's go 45. I have 45 stitches on my needles, and what next do I need to do? I need to make sure that the edge is not twisted. The edge is this. So I need to have the edge in the circle and the loops on the cord like this. Right, we have 45 stitches on our needles. What do we need to do now? We need to mark the beginning of our round. We're going to use a stitch marker, like this one or something similar. On my left needle, we have the end of the yarn. In my right, we have from the ball. You're going to knit. I knit continental style, which means I hold my yarn in my left hand, but you can hold your yarn in your right hand. It really doesn't matter. The most important thing what you're doing now is to put the right needle through the first stitch like this, wrap the yarn around and pull it through. That's our first stitch. So again, how we do it. Put it through, wrap around. So again, put the needle through the stitch, wrap and pull the yarn through. Quite simple, isn't it? While we're knitting, we need to move our stitches. When you get better, you would be able to do it a little bit faster. But as you can see, and especially for beginners, to get through the stitch, it will be very easy with those sharp tips. We are almost at the end of the round. So one more thing, just a tip for you. You see this tip, sharp? I normally put it on the needle and slide this tip feeling my left needle. That way I'm not grabbing anything extra, especially this yarn has 2 plies. I don't know, 2 plies, you see it? I can split it. And look, we did our first round. So we have to slide the marker to our right needle, and start again. We're on our second round. We have to do, according to the pattern, we have to do 4 rounds like this. As you can see, I made 4 rounds. The first doesn't count. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now remember that progress keeper that we put over here. We're going to look for it from our wrong side. This shows us our first stitch. So what we're going to do now, it's kind of tricky. First of all, slide your starter. You see those bumps over here? We'll be grabbing them and putting them on our left needle. Our marker, let's grab this one. We're sliding on the left needle. We're putting the needle through 2. And we're knitting it. So simple. See, one is grabbed. Let's grab a second one. So tip, if you see a loop and the yarn is coming through it, you try to grab the next one. It gives us a really nice edge of the hat, and even if you make a mistake over here, no one will know. So we are almost at the end, and I'm going to keep this progress keeper because I don't want to wait ends, and I'm going to keep this end inside here while I'm doing the rest of my stitches. So as you can see, I have still 2 stitches over here. Yeah, and I'm quite okay. But in case you're missing one, don't afraid, just grab something you can to hold that extra stitch somewhere. So let's push this end inside our tube. Grab this one and pull the last one through. Yay, we did it. Slide your marker. Keep the one over here just in case at some point this one will disappear. May happen. At least you will know where the center of your round is. And now, what next we're going to do? Once the marker is on the side, we will do 6 rows of just knit using the same needles. This needle size is US size 10.75, which is 7 millimeters. And the same as at the beginning, we can relax and knit in a round. If you like, we can actually mark this stitch to know and count the rest. Let's do that. So I'm going to use one of my knittingILove markers, and I'm going to grab stitch with it. That way I know this is our round 6 overall. That's what the pattern says, 6 to 11. So this is our 6th one. So let's knit. I'll be back with you after 11 rounds. I finish a round, and let's see how many rounds we have. It says we should have 6 to 11. So remember, we put the progress keeper on the 6, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and the 11th is on our needle. Yay! So what we're going to do next, we're going to change the needle size to a size 13, 9 millimeters. These beauties. But before, I need a break. So let's just knit one. No worries, we'll go back to it. I will slide my needles. Our next stage is to change needle size. First of all, we need to go back that 1 stitch. Yes. We're going to pull 2 needles. That's our US 13, size 9 millimeters. Unscrew 7 millimeters. And put these ones secure. Done. Now it says that round 12 until 25 we should knit in a round. So let's move our progress keeper. Let's make first stitch and put stitch marker on it. So this is our round 12 and let's knit. It might be a little bit tight to pull it through, but no worries, you'll manage. Now let's say that at some point I dropped a stitch. So the drop stitch looks something like that. I was knitting and I found out that I dropped it. Right? Oh! So what do? We're going backwards. I'm going to put the left needle into the loop and pull the one to the place that I have it. Next thing what I do, I see how many ladders I have. 1, 2, 3. So basically this stitch was dropped through the 3 rounds. We can fix it with a hook, but if we don't have a hook and we want to do it straight away, it's also very easy to do. So what we're going to do, we're going to grab the stitch this way and we're going to go through all those ladders that I just showed you. So we're grabbing the bottom one, put it on it, and we're going to pull that stitch through the loop. We have 2 ladders. We grab this one, we put it on the needle, and now we will pull the stitch over the ladder. Yeah. And the last one. And done. And we can continue our knitting. What will happen if I drop 2 stitches? So we'll try to make them equal again, the same round. Grab both and move them both on one needle. As you can see, we have 3 ladders. It's very important the direction of them. So we're going to do the same thing. Grab the bottom one, put it over, move it, and again find the same piece, move it over on the left needle, put it over. We have 2. Let's put back 2, grab the bottom ladder, the same story, move it over, the same, back, and we have 1 more. It's basically the same system. Yay! We done it. And now we just knit it through. Easy peasy. Still, we're knitting in round until we reach 25th round. So now let's count. Let's count. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, 22, 23, 24, and the 25th is on my needle. So I have 25. And at this point, I'll probably make a note in your version that you can make it longer or keep it the way it is to have it kind of beanie style or slightly slouchy style, just to compare. This is, I haven't worn this is freshly blocked. At this point we should start decreasing the creases, and as you can see, the creases you may not see now, but there is kind of a bum over here, so there's still a bit to knit in case we would want to have this this hat, which approximately, and as you know how to count, will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds to add extra. Or we can keep it and it will be exactly the same way as I was wearing my hat. No worries, this one is not brand new. I've used it many times. It's exactly the same system. So when I put it up, you see, we need to find that bum. It's here, you see this one? And when we put it one on the top of another, we're there. So what do you think? What we should do next? Continue for next round for our pleasure and have it slightly longer, or keep it short. Your call. So now, maybe I'll do something in between. I'll add another 3 rounds on the top of this. I love the sound of those needles. They're very pointy, that's what I like about them too. They're hollow inside, which means that they're very light. And like I told you, about the whole piece over here is moving. Although in some interchangeables, I would from time to time pull the needles out and check, do we have any screws showing up or not? Just to tie them up, because you would not want your tip be out of the cable. And 28 is on my needle. So now the next stage in the pattern called crown, or some would say decreases. That's why it was very important that of all stitches we could divide by 5. Now the pattern tells us to change the needles. And you know how to do it. We just slide both, unscrew the back. With these you can double check because they have the size written on them. Just to be sure we have the same needles tips. Once secure, we can slide it back and play with stitch markers. So what we're going to do, the pattern tells us, because we have 45 stitches on our needles, to divide them by 5, which gives us 9 stitches. It says that we should knit 9 stitches and place a marker. And repeat that until we reach the end. Let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we don't have to place the last one because we have our starter. As you can notice, my starter has a different color than the rest. Our next round says that we should knit 3 times, do some kind of D, and another knit 3 times. We will slip the marker then. I need to write it down. So what D is? Okay. So we're going to knit 3 times. We're going to slide first stitch, knit the second one, place that slip stitch over, put it back, and slide the second stitch over. Move the stitch back on the needle. That way, we decreases 2 stitches. Now the pattern tells you to knit 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And then we reach our marker so we can slide it over. And we're going to repeat the same thing. Knit 3 times, slide 1, knit, slide the slide stitch over, put the knit stitch on the left needle, slide the second stitch and move this one back. Knit 3. Now we need to knit 2 rounds. So we knit and slide marker, or we have to. I hope you can see it. I will make a change over here. Now we're going to knit 4 times and then we do our decrease. 1, 2, 3, 4, and as you can see we have 3 stitches left before the marker, so it's perfect. We slide one, we knit, we move this one over, we put stitch back and move the second one over, place the knit stitch on the right needle and slide. Now we finish the crease round and you may notice that we're getting tight over here. So no worries, I'll show you a trick. So now the pattern tells us just to knit in a round. In case you feel that it's too tight for you, pull the right needle, move it over, create slightly pull, make sure that the stitch is next to other stitch, and just knit it through. Do a few stitches, pull it through, grab the two stitches that are close together, and do it again. Of course, you can get longer cord. Of course, you can get DPN, so double pointed needles, and knit it that way. But at the beginning, I was thinking with just 3 tools, cord and 2 tips, you will be able to knit a hat without extra tools. So we're pulling stitches. Check the needles. If you see gold, tight it. And as you can see, we're getting smaller. Next, we're going to decrease first, and then we're going to knit 2 stitches, which leaves us with 15 stitches. Put one on the side, knit 1, move over, and we have 2, 1, 2, slide. Yay! We're going to knit 1 round. So overall we have 15 stitches, and now the only thing that we'll be doing between markers is this. And let's remove marker. Those sharp tips help a lot. Well, we're going to keep this one. The last bit is to knit around with only 5 stitches overall. Yay! Almost over. I need scissors. So I'm going to pull that a bit. Let's say the length of my card. And now we're going to remove our starter, as I call it, the first stitch, representing the beginning and the end of the round. And we're going to pull the yarn through the stitches. You could use tapestry needle to do that, but you don't have to. I'll show you a different system. So we're grabbing this yarn the way we would normally knit. And we're going to knit and pull the yarn through, slip the stitch. Pull, slip, pull, slip, knit and pull, knit and pull. That's that. And we have our hat. We have only one end to weave in. Or, if you want a pom-pom, as we still have some leftovers, we can use this end to attach the pom-pom to this hat. I know it's not blocked, but I hope you can see it, that by adding just 3 rounds, this hat is slightly bigger than this, but still smaller than this. The patterns gives you for this size. In regards to height, you can add 2 rounds or 5 rounds or as many as you want to make it as long as you wish. Next thing, don't afraid in case you forget to switch needles. You may notice over here it's slightly tighter gauge and here is looser, which means that we have 7 millimeters US size 10.75 over here, and over here we have a US size 13 9 millimeters. So you can play with it and find the way you like it. If you know me, you know I'm a tall girl, so adding a pom-pom to my height will be challenging, but we can always make a pom-pom with the leftovers or attach one temporary. Let's quickly add this pom-pom. So I'm going to use hooks, pull it through the hole, wrap around, and bringing on this side. Just to make sure nothing unravels itself, let's pull the yarn through and through that loop. Let's do it twice, just in case. So now it's sorted. We can use a different yarn, different color, and we're going to find the elastic band. We can do it at any pom-pom if we insert a loop in it. And pull it. We have a pom-pom. But because this hat hasn't been blocked yet, I would say to remove the pom-pom and do it after lovely blocking. But let's see how it looks on my head. So here it is, and the final touches I love to make are or my tags with my logo, or these little beauties. What do you think? A heart or a snowflake? This one I like to put inside, especially for presents, for people to know that they need to hand wash it. How do you like it? That's the only pom-pom I have. With a pom-pom, without a pom-pom, kind of retro style. I hope you enjoyed this one, and see you in the next one. Oh, I hope you like this one, so give me a thumb up. If you really like it, leave a comment down below too, and I hope to record a second lesson for you. In our second lesson, we'll learn how to do a long tail cast on and our purl stitch. Wow, which will look like this. Our second lesson is this hat. I hope you enjoyed this one. See you next one. Use hashtag knittingILove and hashtag knittingILove hat. Show me what you're knitting. Don't forget to check links down below. And see you in the next one. Bye.